Friday, March 18th, 2026, and this is From the Press Box on the Right Team Podcast. I am David Weaver, host of the podcast, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend, the co-host, and pastor of Friendship Baptist Church, also sports director of KMHT 103.9 FM in Marshall, Texas, the one, the only brother, Matt Paul. We were just talking literally just a few seconds ago before we started recording, Matt, that there are no ugly wins in March, particularly for men's basketball, which you can see I'm thankful to at least have one in the bag for my beloved Texas Longhorns.
Yeah. Great game. I tell you, that game had the feeling of one that was just slipping away. And I was obviously watching it intently. I know we're going to do a recap about it here shortly, so I'll save my comments for a little later. But heck of a win. No bad.
I will as well, but I just wanted everyone, if you're viewing us on YouTube, to know why I'm all decked out in my burnt orange this morning for a first four win for Texas last night. So we'll get into that more here as we get into the show. We wanted to start out today, of course, with Moneyball, with the other big news from last night, of course, the World Baseball Classic, which ended there in Miami. Before we get started there, today's Moneyball from the Press Box on the Right Team Podcast is brought to you by Right Team Services. From professional writing and editing to website content, social media, and grant writing, Right Team Services works with schools, businesses, and nonprofits to communicate their message clearly and effectively. If you need words that work for you, trust Right Team Services to help you find your voice. Learn more today at rightteamservices.net about how we can help you tell your story. Okay, Matt, first thoughts off the top of your head, which is cleanly shaven, as I see there. So good job at the barbershop. But what are your first thoughts coming off of that championship game last night?
I mean, it was good stuff. It was high energy. You and I talked about the passion of the game, for how it just seems the fan bases for the Dominican and for Venezuela just seem desperate for it. That showed. I do want to give props to Team USA. The home run by Bryce Harper, that was. You could have gone quietly into the ninth, and instead you rose up, and all of a sudden it looked like that game was back on an even keel, and then Venezuela just answered right back in the top of the ninth. I don't know. I mean, it was good. It was more good baseball. I can't sit here and say, well, it wasn't as good because my team didn't win. I mean, I wanted Team USA to win, obviously, but it was still really, really good, I thought.
I thought it was great for baseball. Just really this last whole week, just the atmosphere. And again, Team USA fans, I want to be clear, did show up throughout most of the tournament.
Yeah.
It's just when you compare them to, for example, the fans last night for Venezuela and for the Dominican Republic, there is just a difference in the way that we celebrate, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But the home run that Bryce hit last night, and it wasn't to the level of this for me, but it was very similar in the home run that Corey Seager hit in Game 1 of the 23 World Series, in which you're down and out and you need something good to happen, and it happens at the perfect moment. And that's just great for baseball, man. I mean, that's just baseball drama at its best. And again, unfortunately, for the USA, it was very short lived. Just a couple batters later, but we talked about, and I've mentioned on the show that I haven't really followed the WBC as a baseball fan much because of the time it happens. I mean, it's happening literally against college basketball and, the peak of that season, and college baseball, really kind of takes center stage or kind of starting to take center stage the last few years. And then you have a World Baseball Classic where, I mean, let's be honest, everyone on those teams, for the most part, if you're a major leaguer anyway, you're not ready to play full on headboard baseball right now. That's just not the
Right.
way you're wired during spring training. And so, it makes me wonder, are we getting the top quality that we could get with this thing? And we've talked about that too. But
Yeah.
as far as popularity goes, I went and looked at some numbers here from the semifinal between USA and Dominican Republic. That game drew an average of over 7.3 million viewers on a Sunday night, on FS1 of all places.
Yeah.
It was the most watched World Baseball Classic game ever, with a peak watch time coming in the late innings, with I think a registered high of like 8.1 million viewers. And I'm going to guess that the numbers from last night are going to blow that out of the water.
Yeah.
It should anyway. But you get down to the baseball part of this, and this stuck out to me from the box score. Team USA had 3 hits last night. One of those, of course, which was the game-tying home run. Of course, that's a big one. But man, you can't win. You can't win most any night in baseball. Certainly not in a championship setting when you only have 3 hits.
Yeah, that's tough. That's
When
really
you have
tough.
guys like Bobby Witt Jr. and Aaron Judge and Kyle Schwarber and Alex Bregman and all those guys all going hitless. I mean, and that was the only hit Harper had. I'll take that back. He had 2 hits, I think. He had 2 of the 3, maybe. But in any event, you can't win a ball game with that type of offensive performance. It's just not going to happen. Venezuela didn't exactly rip the cover off the baseball last night. They only had 6 hits, but they were a better situational baseball team last night offensively than we were.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could tell from the opening pitch until the end of the game, man, just how much it meant to those guys and to those fans and really to that country. And I mean, just from a story standpoint, it's great to see.
Yeah.
Because now the cool thing is those guys are going to go back to their relative baseball teams today, and we're going to get started on Major League Baseball starting next week, and then opening day, and we'll all kind of retreat to our own corners and now become more territorial when it comes to our fandom, right?
Yes, sir.
But I did want to update the standings as far as just in folks that there may have already seen this, but that was Venezuela's first World Baseball Classic championship. Japan, of course, leads that with 3, and then USA and Dominican Republic have the other 2. Look, man, I'm hoping that we can find a way that this can even take on more significance just in terms of popularity. And again, I really only see the only solution to that is being willing to give up your all-star game once in a while.
I think you're right. That makes you brought that up yesterday. I think that kind of makes sense, is about the only thing that does make sense. If
I hear more people saying that, and I'm really on board with it. Again, the all-star game is really it's an exhibition. I don't even watch the home run derby anymore. They keep tweaking it and everything around it, and I think you could afford to give that up once every 4 years to have something like this played in the middle of the summer when everyone's at full speed baseball mode, and I think it would be even better than it was certainly the last week or 10 days. So anyway, great World Baseball Classic. We all now move into the final days of Major League Baseball this season. And it was good to have this moment where we could just celebrate it and not worry about upcoming labor issues.
Yeah.
Who knows? We may have to really be tuning into Venezuelan and Dominican League baseball in the future.
Yeah, or Italian maybe even.
Or Japanese, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's maybe the only game in town over the next couple of summers. But anyway, just wanted to mention that here as a very brief Moneyball segment today. Again, thank you to Right Team Services for sponsoring that for us today. Today's On Campus from the Press Box on the Right Team podcast is brought to you by East Texas Baptist University, located in Marshall, Texas. ETBU offers a university experience built on academic excellence, nationally known athletics, and a strong foundation of faith and community. It's a place where students are challenged every day to grow, lead, and serve. Learn more about life on the Hill in Marshall at etbu.edu. Okay, we gave a little bit of a tease about the games last night. Of course, we're going to start. Let's start with the UMBC versus Howard game. Matt, your thoughts on that and the bracket updates that come from that?
Well, and we've shared on here. I don't like this game because the loser, I don't feel like feels like they were actually in the tournament, but it was a great game. Howard had the big lead. UMBC comes roaring back. I was really actually drawn to the last few minutes of that, which I'll be honest, usually that 16-16 game on Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm just not all that engaged in. Big one for Howard. I know that puts them with a win, a postseason win, NCAA tournament win in their ledger. It ends there. I do not see a world where any of these number one seeds. I know in the last 7 or 8 years we've actually seen two number ones go down. I don't see that happening this year. But a great game nonetheless, a high scoring game. A lot of times those 16-16 games, you'll see some kind of ugly slugfest of 61-59 or something. Those teams were filling it up. It was a good game.
I was too. I was kind of dipping in and out there with that in the baseball game. Just trying to keep up with both at the same time. I'm like you. It's just really hard to think you're watching an NCAA tournament game when you're watching these games on Tuesday night. But they made it as entertaining as it possibly could be. I'll be honest to you, I had to actually Google what UMBC actually meant. That's Maryland of Baltimore County. Never even heard of that school before.
You should have. Yeah. They were the first 16 seed to beat a 1. They beat Virginia.
I don't remember that. I do not remember that. You are the expert in the room when it comes to college basketball. Remember. I thought Howard was pretty steady, but I agree with you. They're not going to put up much of a fight in Michigan. So enjoy your win last night, Bison. It was a good one. You want to always have those when you're playing to get in, but it ends, I think, on Thursday for sure.
Agreed.
Okay, let's move on to the game of the night, and I will say this: Texas and NC State gave us a second really nail-biting game last night. It was a little bit too nail-biting if you're a Longhorns fan. I can attest to that down the stretch. I was not shocked to see that, to be honest. It's been happening all year. And look, I've been fortunate enough to be around enough basketball, at ETBU, following it for 12 years and working with the coaches there to know that these kinds of things can happen. But especially when your team is just, and they're just not good enough consistently to depend on, right? And coaches see that too, and they know that, and they have to continue to coach and try to get this team to where you want them to get to, and that's the frustrating part of it as a coach. But you know that you're not playing with a full deck in terms of talent and ability and knowledge of the game, and that was on display last night, man. You just saw first year Texas Longhorns under Sean Miller last night. He has not built his program yet, but he has coached him up enough to be able to again hold off a really good NC State. Mm-hmm. They're probably just as frustrated as we are with our basketball team this season, right?
Well, of course, and they're with the first-year head coach, Will Wade, coming over from McNeese State. He's going to build something there. He did it at LSU. He did it at McNeese State. I do want to say, if you remember, Texas was in this spot last year and they lost. So already Sean Miller has shown improvement in the first year. But right. I really want to give a shout-out. I was happy for this guy, Tremont Mark, who hit the game winner, and he also had the previous basket, which was a really clutch one. He's in his second year at Texas. I don't know if you know where he transferred from. Arkansas. He had a year at Arkansas. Prior to that, he went to a Final Four with Houston. So he's had a long journey. But, his year at Arkansas, he was an elite player for us in Musselman's last year. And it all, for a variety of reasons that I really don't necessarily blame Tremont Mark at all. That season tanked quickly. It felt like Musselman gave up on us. He quickly flees out to USC, and it all ends up working out great because we get John Calipari. But Tremont Mark left. He was out as he should. I mean, you know, it was kind of a train wreck. It was kind of a mess. He goes to Texas last year. I think they probably had higher expectations after a good year the year before. And all they get in is this first 4 game. And then you hire a new coach, and of course that's a rebuild. And now he's stuck with another new coach. You know, it would have been understandable if he just kind of mailed it in and decided, you know, I'm pretty old. I'm in like my 5th or 6th year. I'm probably not a draft prospect. This is it for basketball. And no, he willed his team to a victory last night when it was all falling apart. So I was really impressed by him, and I was happy for him too.
The thing that's going to ultimately hurt Texas here, and I mentioned it yesterday, they're a dangerous team. They're a team that if they play well enough, they can beat you on any given night.
Yeah.
The problem is they're not consistent enough to really be that much of a threat, but they are dangerous.
Yeah.
And you could see that at points last night in the game where, I mean, they had a couple of opportunities there to really pull away. And they just weren't good enough to do it. I mean, good teams would have found a way to make that game literally not as close as it was. The biggest problem they have is depth. They only go 3 deep on their bench. That's going to be tough flying all the way out to Portland and having to play tomorrow night against AJ DeMensa and BYU. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. I do think that they can compete if they play their best, but at some point I just wonder how this 8-man rotation that they have going on is when it's going to raise its ugly head and ultimately be the end of it. But I did want to mention, of course, Dalen Swain is probably their best player. The Boca Titus kid on the inside is pretty good. Of course, Swain followed Miller from Xavier last year. And I wanted to get your opinion on what you think of him, because I see him as a very sneaky, really nice pick in the NBA draft, maybe in that just right outside the lottery area, 12 to 20. I think somebody can get a really good ball player in that spot, picking there with somebody like him.
He strikes me as a guy that he needs to get in the right situation. And that's the difference between, for me, being a bona fide can't miss lottery pick and maybe where he'll be, because, you look at DeBansa, you look at Darius Acuff, to an extent, Boozer, although Boozer's physicality, he's not going to be more physical than everybody in the NBA like he is in college. But he's still obviously an All-American, all-world talent. Those guys, I don't know that it matters where they go. Their game is going to translate. I feel like Swain is still maybe a little more raw and not quite as polished as what I'm seeing from those other guys. And so I think if he gets in a situation where people aren't like, you're our first round pick, everything's on you right now, we need you to kind of get us back. As long as he can avoid a situation like that, I could see that being a really good pick for somebody, for sure.
Well, I would love to see him come back for his senior year. I think he could use it. And I think he could develop more into maybe not a lottery pick, but again, a very high first round draft pick that could help somebody in the right situation. But I agree, he's very raw. And there are some parts of his game he still needs to work on, but yeah, with him and Tremont Mark playing the way they did last night, when Boca Titus fouled out, especially, for a one game kind of thing, that's a dangerous team that you'd have to face, because they can light it up. I
think it'll be a great matchup between them and BYU. Yeah.
So that takes place on Thursday night in the first round of the NCAA tournament there in Portland, I believe is where that is. But anyway, it's more of a home game, of course, for BYU than it will be for Texas. That's a long way to go. But the Horns are still swimming with the big fish in the NCAA tournament. So congratulations to my guys. Okay, let's take a quick look here now at the first 4 for the women, which takes place tonight. Of course, we do have a local East Texas team involved in this. That is the SFA Lady Jacks. Will be taking on Missouri State this evening at the Moody Center in Austin at 8 o'clock. SFA comes into this game as the Southland Tournament champ at 25-9. Missouri State at 22-12. ESPN, Matt, gives Missouri State a 62% chance to win this one. Just kind of a stat dive here real quickly for SFA. Their leading scorer is Key Roseby. She's averaging just over 13 points a game, 6.7 rebounds. She is a 6-foot post from Frisco. And then for Missouri State, Keeman Beekamer is their leading scorer at 17.4 points per game. She's also averaging 8.2 rebounds a game, and she's a 5'9" guard from up there in Missouri. Of course, the winner of this game will nail down that 16 seed and have the right to stay in Austin for a couple of days and take on the number 1 Texas Lady Horns. So good luck to SFA tonight. I was a little surprised looking at the records here that Missouri State, had a basically 60-40 chance to win this one. That's probably coming from quality of play overall, maybe in the SEC and in the Southland, I would think, right?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Another one of those games, and I kind of view it the same as the men's with that 16 versus 16. I do like the fact that it's kind of a local team, obviously going to be rooting for them. But yeah, it feels like it feels like you're competing to which cow is going to be the first one to be slaughtered, essentially, is what it is. But yeah, excited for SFA.
I was in school at Northwestern. Oh my gosh, back in the mid '90s, SFA was right there with Northwestern in terms of. I mean, that was our big rival. Natchitoches to Nacogdoches kind of thing. And SFA was real good back then, man. Really good in women's basketball, and they've stayed fairly consistent over the years. And it's good to see them back. I'd like to see them win this one, and at least get the chance to play Texas. That'd be a big deal. Of course, the other first 4 preview going on tonight is Nebraska from the Big Ten, 18-12, taking on Richmond, which is 26-7. The winner will play number 6 Baylor Friday afternoon at Cameron Indoor Stadium there in Durham, North Carolina. Nebraska is a slight favorite in this one, according to ESPN. Don't know a whole lot about Big Ten women's basketball. I'm not going to pretend I do, nor do I know a whole lot about A10 women's basketball. So I'm going to take ESPN's word for it and on my bracket pick Nebraska, just coming from the bigger league. Okay, that's again the preview for tonight's women's game, which starts their tournament officially this evening. Matt, did you see this yesterday? This story I pulled from FoxSports.com about this. Well, not only is a Michigan star, I believe he's the Big Ten Player of the Year. Michigan's Yaxel Lindeborg.
Yep.
Had you heard this story before?
I read it yesterday. I didn't know it. I read it yesterday. It's kind of crazy.
Well, according to him, he almost transferred to Kentucky because they allegedly, according to him, when he was in the transfer portal, started with a number of $7 million and were offering up to $9 million for him to come to Kentucky in NIL money. Now, I don't have any official figures in front of me, but I believe that's more than any quarterback is making in football. The last number I saw as far as Arch Manning, who I believe is the highest paid college quarterback, was somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 to 8 million, somewhere around in there. But man, if this guy's bringing in 9 million, what kind of recruiting pitch did Michigan put on there to land him at the Wolverines?
I'm saying, man, my gracious.
Let's see here. Then this story again, it's on Fox Sports from yesterday. He's in his 6th season. That could be a big deal. He's in the 6th season as a college player. He played the first 3 at Arizona Western, transferred to UAB for 2 seasons, and now he's in his 6th season after earning All-American honors at UAB. So he's playing in his 6th year. He's at Michigan as a, quote, senior, and he's making reportedly between $2.2 to $3 million in salary. Look,
wow.
Either Michigan has got a tremendous recruiting advantage here, or this kid's really not being truthful. I'm not calling him a liar. I'm just saying it's really hard to believe that he would turn down $9 million to go to Kentucky to play basketball.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say, Kentucky is, and they still have a chance to make some noise. I could see them doing it, but Kentucky underachieved this year. They spent a lot of money on that roster, and it's what are we, 20-13? They're a 7 seed. You're still in the tournament. You still got a shot. I'm not saying they can't. I could see them going to the Sweet 16, but it wouldn't surprise me if it found out that they did throw that much. Look, Yaxel Lindenberg was the top guy out of the portal. That dude was throwing up regularly like 30 points, 15 rebounds at UAB. I mean, just a physically gifted, but could kind of do it all, 6'8" kind of guy. But Dusty May at Michigan is a real deal head coach. If you can take Florida Atlantic and build them into a Final Four team, you're a really, really good coach. And I'll tell you right now, I've heard Mark Pope. I think he's a good coach. I've heard Dusty May. If I got those two dudes doing a pitch to me, I'm going to play for Dusty May. That's just me. So it's possible that's what happened right there. But you know how it is with these stories. The truth's probably somewhere in between, and we'll never know.
Yeah, and that's a good way of putting it. And look, kudos to this kid if he did turn that down to go where his heart was, right? I mean, most kids wouldn't do that. I don't know, man. It's if so, that's a super down to earth player who's going to do it old school and go to the place where he's actually feels like he's going to be coached up better and take less money in today's world of NIL for sure. Okay, closing out our on-campus section here. Probably should have mentioned this in Moneyball. I think I put it on the wrong spot in my notes, but I do want to mention here that next Friday, March 27th, this is kind of a programming note. Matt, I'm going to unveil my first NFL mock draft as we get set for the April 23rd, 25th draft coming up in Pittsburgh. And I'll lead more into that next week, but I do these, or I've been doing these similar to what you do with the NCAA bracketology. I kind of do these for fun. And unlike you, I've never really gotten close. I don't think many people do with these things, but I'm going to have some fun with it. So we'll start kind of sharing that next week and talk about it as we get closer to the NFL draft. But I'm going to drop my first one for you guys next week. So be sure to tune in for that. I want to thank ETBU as always again for sponsoring our on-campus segment of Here from the Press Box on the Right Team podcast. Thank you guys for your support.
No doubt.
Okay, let's move on to Beast Texas. Today's Beast Texas High Schools from the Press Box on the Right Team podcast is brought to you by Styles Electric, proudly serving East Texas from offices in Mount Pleasant and Longview. Styles Electric has delivered reliable professional electrical services for more than 25 years. From school districts and universities to civic organizations and commercial projects across the region, Styles is proud to power the projects that help East Texas grow and thrive. When quality workmanship and trusted experience matter, choose Styles Electric, service that speaks for itself. Okay, Matt, I've decided to go a different direction than what I have shared with you on our notes, so I'm hoping you can hit a curveball here.
Okay.
I want to pose and we were going to just kind of regurgitate some of the scores from last night, but when I started looking at some of these things, another question popped in my mind, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it as well, because it's a serious thing. And again, it's a one night kind of snapshot of what went on last night in high school baseball in our area. But man, I'm wondering where has all the pitching gone? I don't know if you've seen some of the scores from around our area last night. I didn't look at softball. That's a completely different thing. We'll touch on that maybe at some point. But here's some of the scores that I found last night, according to TexasHighSchoolBaseball.com site, which does a really good job of keeping their website updated, opposed to max preps, which isn't always accurate. Starting in 6A, Rockwall beat Longview 10-0. Legacy defeated North Forney 15-0. Lufkin defeated Tyler High 15-0. Texas High defeated Marshall 9-0. Hallsville beats Jacksonville 17-2. Carthage beats Chapel Hill 17-0. Spring Hill defeated Cumberland Academy 16-1. I know this is redundant, but we're about halfway through here. Kilgore defeated Henderson 10-3. New Diana beats Jefferson 19-5. Redwater shuts out Queen City 24-0. That's a good football score. Tatum defeats Gladewater 10-0. Center defeats Sabine 15-2. Harleton defeats Wascom 19-1. And then to cap it all off in the 2A ranks, Elysian Fields defeated Ore City 19-4. I didn't add all that up. That's a pretty big margin on average of win, and a lot of double digits and teams up there. You've watched more high school baseball than I have this year, probably. What have you? Was that just a one-night anomaly, or is this a kind of a general epidemic with our pitching right now? Now, and it's not. There's a lot of zeros on here too. So
yeah, in each of those games, one team pitched really well. I think to an extent, and I'm going to give you a possible reason for some of that in some of our districts, but I think this has more to do with the haves and have-nots. At least the districts that I'm more familiar with, like Harleton's district and the one that Hallsville's in, there's haves and there's have-nots. I have, Marshall's in a very much a rebuild. Coach Jackson Hood's first year. He's a Coach Hood. I have no doubt that program is going to get back. It takes time. It's a very much a rebuild. I've seen Nacogdoches, I've seen Jacksonville, I've seen Tyler High. They are have-nots. They do not have the horses that Hallsville and White House and Lufkin and some of these other schools have. But I'm going to tell you part of the reason also in some of the districts, and specifically in that Hallsville-Marshall district, you've got 9 teams. You're going to have to play 3 games a week sometimes. Look, at some point, pitching's going to run thin, and at some point, you're going to have to decide, okay, Friday night is the game I feel like I have the best chance or that I need to win. Saturday, maybe I'm not going to win, and Tuesday, I think I'm going to win maybe a little easily. So I'm going to pitch my best guy Friday night and the one I got to get. Saturday, I'm just going to throw someone out there and hope it works. Like you have to go through all that. When you're playing 3 games and you're on pitch counts, and I want to give Coach Hood credit and Marshall, because if you look at his roster, and it's a small roster, David, we're talking about like maybe 12 baseball players in that varsity roster. 9 of them are listed as pitchers. Because he knows you've got to be able to throw it. We've got to have some arms. And I look forward to seeing how that grows in the years ahead. But some of it has to do with playing 3 games a week, because the UIL's got some big old districts. When you got a 9-team district, it's hard to figure out your pitching, man.
Yeah, those are good points. I just go back to pitching development, and you mentioned the haves and the have-nots, and that is a real thing. And it's kind of weird, but I believe this as I've gotten older and seen it. I've been through the high school ranks of watching it personally. You have certain schools that are football schools, and it's more of a mentality. It is with your community, right? Then you have schools that are and communities that are more geared toward what we call the minor sports: baseball, softball, volleyball, those kinds of things. And those are the teams that you typically see with the better pitching,
Right.
The better offensive and net play in volleyball, and it's because those communities, their kids are more committed is not the right word, have more opportunity to play travel ball.
Mm-hmm.
You get better, we get better at podcasting by just podcasting. Right.
Right.
Whether good or bad, we just dive in and we do it. It's the same way with just about anything in life, and pitching is no different. You get better pitching by pitching. You have to go out and throw, and you have to do it a whole lot. I mean, you have to You have to commit to it. Now, a lot of it, I'm just going to tell you, in my experience, I believe this. A lot of it's genetic. You know, if a kid can throw 95 just picking a baseball up, that's genetic. Now,
Yeah.
And I'll just tell you up front. I mean, I saw Patrick Mahomes pitch in high school. Kid was throwing mid to upper 90s in high school.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was rare for him to throw it over the plate. And so it did not surprise me, even though his dad was a Major League Baseball player and he had played baseball his whole life. It didn't surprise me that much when he said, I'm going to go play quarterback at Texas Tech. Because he could throw a football straight, and he's proven that. And so there's one thing to the genetics, but there's one thing about the coaching and the ability to hone that. And you do that by pitching. And look, I don't want to turn this into a thing against travel baseball, because I'm not. I'm just, it can dominate a lot of your time and finances and things like that to really commit to it. Mm-hmm. And it's a family thing. I mean, you have to commit to it. And then there are some communities that, are more willing to do that. And it shows in these kinds of sports, I believe. Whereas there are a lot that, you don't see a whole lot of travel football going on. And kids can get in there and just play and let their natural abilities come out. And you have to work at that too. I'm not saying that, but I just noticed this one night snapshot last night with some of these teams. And again, most of them are on the sub side of 500, when you look at their standings, and they're struggling overall as a team. But these scores just kind of jumped out to me last night, as being, it's just kind of unusual to see that kind of an epidemic happen on one night.
Oh, yeah.
In baseball, and it all kind of came together last night. But those were some kind of really, really, really lopsided scores. And it'd be interesting to see how this improves as we get into the meat of district, and some of these contending teams start playing each other, and maybe these scores will come down. I know there's some great pitching around. I'm not saying it's not. It was just last night this kind of brought this up to me, and I'm like, we're missing depth. And it's either the schedule, it's either the fact we're not, some of these places we're not developing pitching, and you develop pitching in the summer and travel. That's how you do that. And by pitching, you don't develop it in the middle of a baseball season. I'm sorry. And most places you don't develop it in a high school baseball program because you don't play enough baseball. These kids are playing football. These coaches are coaching football. I mean, in basketball and things like that. And you don't develop a whole lot of skill doing this. And so these really good programs are dependent on their youth leagues and their travel ball to get these kids developed to a point where when they get to high school, they can roll them out there on a Tuesday or Friday and let them do their thing, and they're ready to go. And those are, don't let anybody tell you anything. That's a huge advantage when you have a situation where your youth programs, whatever that may be, mainly travel ball, competitive travel ball, is kind of dominant in your area. And I'll be honest. I mean, I have some regrets from what we did as a family. But it did help develop my son, and he got a college scholarship and did his thing. Right. But that's that to me. I don't know of any other way of developing pitching for the high school level than doing that. And it just kind of popped at me last night when I saw these scores, and I wanted to bring that up here today. One more thing here on the Beast Texas section, I wanted to start here, Matt. And again, this is a very rudimentary list. I could just really do this off the top of my head with some local kids. You're going to see a lot of Hallsville kids on here because of that. But I did want us to kind of start taking a look at some of our Beast Texas alums at the next level. And when I say next level, I mean either college or pro, right? And we're not missing anyone here on purpose. I just, if you see this on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, type in the name of your local athlete, and we'll put them on this list and try to follow them here where we can keep everybody up to date with what they're doing. And I felt kind of bad since football season ended that we didn't actually mention a couple of these that you and I know intimately. But of course, Savion Williams is a former wide receiver / quarterback athlete from Marshall who went to TCU. He's now a Green Bay Packer, drafted last year, I believe, in the 3rd round.
That's correct.
Savion completed his rookie season this past year. He caught 10 passes for 78 yards and a touchdown. He also had 11 carries for 37 yards. And primarily, though, he returned kicks for them, 28 kick returns, averaging just over 25 yards a return. Never can forget Savion. When I was at Marshall, I saw his very first varsity touchdown catch, and you'd have thought it was Randy Moss. I don't know if you were there that night at Rose Stadium in Tyler. Jump balls thrown in the end zone. He just literally goes up and he just went over the kid trying to guard him, and I'm okay. We got something.
Yeah.
We got something here. But anyway, and then his senior year, of course, because of some tragedy and things like that happened in the program, he actually had to play quarterback. But anyway, fun to see him develop over the years and become really a promising pro there for the Packers. I hate the Packers. It's kind of sad that I was having to see Savion playing for them, but I am pulling for him for sure. Hate's a strong word. I probably shouldn't use that.
But
podcast. I'm talking about my guys, but let's just say they're not my favorite. The organization. Yeah. Okay. Taj Washington, of course, came. Actually, he was a year ahead of Savion in class.
That's right.
He's also a wide receiver. Probably played in that 2017 season team that went to the regional semifinals, I think, 3rd
regional
round.
semis. 1 point lost
by Huntsville there at the Star. And Taj, he caught the game-tying touchdown pass, or he caught the touchdown at the end that should have been the game-tying touchdown, and would have been if Coach Mathis. Again, I thought it was the perfect call. He decided to go for 2, and of course, then Savion got interfered with. Okay, we won't go down that rabbit hole, but
that's another podcast.
That is we'll save that for football season. I've still got tweets I probably need to go and delete from the rage I had that night. But of course, Taj, everyone knows who Taj Washington is. He went to Memphis, and then he transferred to USC. Played with Caleb Williams out at USC. I always knew that this kid, somebody was going to get a good one if they just took a shot on him in those early days.
Yeah.
And he just continued to develop. Had some injury issues when he got drafted into the NFL, but anyway, he's with Miami Dolphins right now. Which the way they're moving their roster around, man, I don't know if you saw the big trade yesterday, but their receiver room is depleted. I would expect Taj to maybe get some more opportunities. He didn't get a whole lot last year. He caught 3 passes for 37 yards, again, coming off of a big knee injury. Some other local players here, just running these down here. And again, these are all Hallsville because I know these kids intimately here, but Justin Slayton, of course, right-handed pitcher from Hallsville, went to New Mexico and played his college ball. Of course, was drafted by the Texas Rangers, was in their minor league program until 2 years ago when actually the Mets drafted him in the Rule 5 draft, and he was immediately traded to the Red Sox. But this past year, he's become really a key figure in his bullpen when he's healthy, in the Sox bullpen when he is healthy. 2025, he went 2-4 with a 4.24 ERA in 34 innings, but he did have 3 saves, 3 major league saves. So, and I know Justin and his family very well. He was on my son's travel ball team growing up. I actually coached him in T-ball. There's an old picture floating around of Marshall T-ball where I believe we were called the Astros, and I had my son Kobe, I had Justin, I had a couple of other kids who went on to play pretty serious high school and college baseball, and we won 1 T-ball game that year. It shows my coaching.
There you go.
But anyway, we grew up boys grew up together, and Justin has continued to blossom and is really a factor for those Red Sox in the bullpen if he can stay healthy. He's battled some issues that kind of frustrating, but he's a good kid and really pulling for him as he moves on in his career. Moving to basketball here, folks around this area, particularly in Hallsville, remember this kid, Anton McDermott. He was
Yeah.
a 6'4" guard for the Bobcats. Really good high school player. Of course, some folks don't know this, but he's still on the roster at Texas. He's a redshirt freshman this year. He's actually played in 7 games this season.
I saw him celebrating last night.
Yeah. Anton's a really good player, really good shooter, and still trying to get some minutes there at Texas. But they did play in 7 games, which is way more than he played last year in his freshman year. So he did get a red shirt. And then I'm just going to rattle off some names here that have come across and I don't have any stats on these kids. We'll follow up with them here as we move on. But again, I know, Matt, you probably know some more from over there in your neck of the woods. We'll add to this list. But of course, Michaela Minshew is from Hallsville. She's the first baseman at ETBU softball. Sawyer Dunnigan is an infielder at Tyler Junior College. He, again, is a former Bobcat. A couple of other Bobcat baseball players here that are still playing college ball. Ethan Miller is an outfielder at Rich Mountain College. I believe that's in Arkansas. Is that right? No?
I'm not familiar with that one. Maybe, but I don't know for sure.
I think it's in Arkansas. I have to look at that. I could be wrong. But anyway, Ethan Miller is up there. Actually played quarterback for the Bobcats in his senior year a couple of years ago after being a really good receiver the year before. And then finally, pitcher Landon Bowden, a left-hander from actually Hallsville's last state finalist team a few years ago. He is at Blinn College. He is, of course, a former Hallsville Bobcat. And we'll try to follow up with some stats on these kids. I've just actually, as of last night, just started putting this list together. So if any of our listeners out there have any local kids that you know of that are in college or even in the pros that we may have missed in any sport, just let us know and we'll try to follow them here on the podcast.
Yeah, I'll throw a couple Marshall names just because I know them. I know Connor Haggerty graduated with my son, an offensive lineman that has been a 3-year starter at SAU. If you know about Southern Arkansas, that's a ranked D2 program. And then a couple track guys, Spencer Taylor, who also graduated with my son, has been running track at Arkansas State. So that's a D1 track program right there and a pretty good one. And DJ Godot, who graduated last year, is running track for Prairie View A&M, and he's already set the school record in the 400 meter. As a freshman. So good stuff there from track. Of course, at Marshall, there's always going to be somebody that's good at track there. So I want to give a shout out to those kids.
There are a couple of other kids too that I know from White House, of course, and they're ATBU kids, but Kate Jones is from White House. I know her family very well my entire life. And so Kate is a sophomore at ETBU. And then, of course, Maddie Shirley is also a sophomore out there. I know Maddie very well. She was also from Hallsville. So got a lot of local kids still playing ball at various places all across the country, and we want to make sure we keep track of those here on Beast Texas from the Press Box on the White Team podcast. Again, I want to thank Styles Electric for their support of our podcast and for sponsoring Beast Texas today. All right, Matt, let's go to the back page of the program, and this is being brought to you by Wright Team Services. Teams with the most NCAA tournament win. I'm going to start it this morning. Teams with the most NCAA tournament wins. I took your name off here for some reason, and that's not meaning anything, brother. It's just for some reason it's thrown me off. But anyway, teams with the most NCAA tournament wins over the last 10 years. Take a wild guess as to who that might be at number one.
Over the last 10
NCAA tournaments, who has the most wins in the tournament?
I got to put Connecticut up there pretty high.
Connecticut is not on the list.
Have how many?
24. No, wait a minute. No, they may be on the list. I think I'm overlooking their logo. No, Connecticut is actually 11th.
Okay, because I think they've won either 2 or 3 titles in that time. So I was a little shocked that they.
Yeah, I think they had a couple of years though where.
So this is going back to 2017.
2017 to 2015, 2016.
Okay, gotcha. Let's see. Let
me throw some names out there.
The standards, Duke, I'm sure is on there.
Duke, I'm just going to give you 5 teams here, and you pick.
Okay.
Okay. Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, Houston, or Gonzaga?
You're asking me who's number one?
Who's number one? Most wins in the NCAA tournament over the last. This is coming from a tweet put out by the Next Round. But it says these are the teams with the most NCAA tournament wins over the last 10 tournaments.
Oh, I don't know. I'm still kind of floored that Connecticut's not on the list.
They're on the list, but they're
but I mean, I guess let's see. Trying to think of who's won titles here and been in Final Fours. I guess I would probably out of those. I don't know. I guess I'll go Duke. I'm not sure.
Duke's number 2, 27. The one with the most NCAA tournament wins, according to this list, is Gonzaga with 28.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't believe that until I looked at this list. And again, I haven't, researched it. Just thought I would bring it up. They got Gonzaga with 28 over the last 10 years. So that would mean they average almost 3 wins a tournament, right? That would put them in the 16 almost on average. Duke with 27, North Carolina with 24, Kansas with 21, Villanova with 21, and Houston with 19. Those are the top 6.
Gotcha.
Followed by Michigan and Michigan State with 17, Kentucky with 16, Purdue with 16. Then I believe this is UConn. It's just a picture of the Husky. I guess that's them.
Yeah.
Texas Tech are tied with 14, and UCLA has 14. So it is an interesting list, which I would not have guessed it just throwing it out if I wasn't looking at it, partner. So don't feel bad.
Yeah. That's all right. That's all right.
When you see this next stat, it kind of makes you, okay, that might be true. But Gonzaga has made the tournament 26 straight years.
Yeah.
They're in the tournament every year. Now, part of that probably is the conference they play in, right?
Sure.
It's not exactly the SEC or ACC, right? But I'm guessing Duke's probably got a longer streak than that. I can't remember a time where Duke wasn't in the tournament.
I remember not like super recently, but I do remember a time when they haven't been in it. I remember that for sure, but it may not.
Was it 20 within 26 years though? Last 26 years?
That I don't know.
2000?
I don't know for sure.
I don't know, but I saw another tweet that made note of that Gonzaga has made it for 26 straight years, and that seemed impressive. Seeing my team struggles to get to the first 4, I can respect the team being there 26 straight. I promise you that.
So I just looked it up on the NCAA's website. Gonzaga is actually number 2 with most consecutive.
Okay.
It's Michigan State who is number 1. This year was their 28th consecutive time. And again, this is from the NCAA's website. Number 3 is Purdue with 11. So apparently Duke missed it recently.
Wow. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look and see when they missed it. I don't know, man. I'm drawing a blank on when that could have been. But I know North Carolina's missed it. Even Kansas. I mean, it's hard to believe Kansas has missed it in the last 11 years.
2021. The Duke missed. I remember that now because that was the weird year after COVID. They only went 13-11. They had to withdraw from the ACC tournament because of a COVID issue on their team, but they were going to have to win that tournament just to get in. So yeah, it's actually pretty recently. The previous one before that was 1995. So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, God, my memory's that bad now. I can't remember that recently. Of course, all of that, those 2 or 3 years there were a fog with COVID and stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember anything that went on there, but yeah, I thought that was interesting as we get ready to start the tournament tomorrow in earnest. Again, there's a couple of more games, so play-in games happening tonight. But yeah, the tournament.
Miami of Ohio in action tonight.
Yes, they are.
This will be their first quad 1 game of the year as they face SMU.
And look, I know SMU is a quote local team in Texas, I would not be upset to see Miami of Ohio win that game, just
Yep.
to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
People don't understand how hard it is to win 30 straight games in anything.
31 in a row. Yeah.
And to do it in Division I college basketball at any level, that's pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive.
I agree.
They deserve to be in this thing for sure.
I agree.
And finally, here as I close out my back page, and we'll turn it over to Matt here. But man, you see the college baseball scores last night? Again,
Yeah.
we've got an epidemic.
That tower's not on because of baseball.
No,
I'll
it's
tell you that
not.
much.
It is not. My boys had a rough night last night. Texas falls at home to Tarleton State, 6-1. And I'm just pulling scores pretty much from the SEC here. It was a rough night in the SEC to play baseball. Indiana, which is not known for its baseball prowess, defeated Vanderbilt. Charlotte defeats South Carolina. Most of these were home games, by the way.
Yeah.
This one wasn't. Oklahoma goes on the road to Southeast Louisiana and gets beat. And then South Alabama knocks off Alabama. That's just in the SEC. Now, number one in UCLA did get a win, but it was a 5-4 nail biter against 4-16 Pepperdine last night. So you want to talk about toss-ups? Go watch Tuesday night college baseball anywhere.
I'm telling you.
And it is a roll the dice kind of thing because, again, I kind of brushed it off a couple of weeks ago due to the whole early season pitching thing, trying to get your rotation going. But I mean, we're here now in the middle of March and we're still seeing these things. That's what makes college baseball the most unpredictable sport in college to me, because on any given night, it all depends on your pitcher. And,
Yep.
and so home field doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So anyway, just wanted to share that here on my back page today. What you got for us today, brother?
I'm going to stick with basketball. We'll go for kind of the funny one first. Did you see former Texas A&M Aggie Alex Caruso, what he did last night?
I did not.
He blocked a shot with his shoe.
Oh, I did see that.
He received a technical foul. His shoe came off. He picked it up, was just waiting for play to – he's holding it while playing defense, waiting for a whistle. And then a guy drives, and I guess just instinctively he reaches out with the foot or with the hand holding the shoe and knocks the out of bounds, gets a technical foul. Thunder still won the game anyway, but I just thought that was funny. I've never seen somebody block a shot with their shoe.
Come off? It just came off like in the.
Yeah, I didn't see that. The video I saw, he was already holding the shoe, so I guess somebody stepped on his foot or whatever. It came off, and so anyway, I just thought that was funny. But I did want to point out there was another college basketball tournament that started last night, the NIT, which a lot of people don't seem to be interested in, and understandably so. There were 8 games last night. I'm going to tell you the margin of victory. 6-1, 4-4, 5 in overtime, 3, and then Auburn was down 6 at halftime to South Alabama and rallied to win by 11. Don't tell these teams that these games don't matter. They were out there playing for their lives, which I like to see. I thought that was really cool to see teams in the NIT still fighting to get a victory.
Yeah. And, we did have some opt-outs from that, which I think we mentioned yesterday or a couple of days ago, which is unfortunate to see. And unfortunately, I think you're going to continue to see that in this world of NIL where these teams just say thanks, but no thanks. And you're going to see the NITs and the bowl games and things like that go away.
Yep.
And I think that's unfortunate for college sports. Okay, that's it for the back page today. I did want to give a shout out to our back page sponsor here on From the Press Box on the Right Team podcast. Of course, it's brought to you by Right Team Services. From professional writing and editing to website content, social media, and grant writing, Right Team Services works with schools, businesses, and nonprofits to communicate their message clearly and effectively. If you need words that work for you, trust Right Team Services to help you find your voice. Learn more today at rightteamservices.net about how we can help you tell your story. Let's move on now to this date in sports history. Just a couple of things here, Matt, to bring up. I know have some background in this one as well, but did you know that on this date in 1995, none other than Michael Jordan announced that he was returning to the NBA and the Chicago Bulls after a retirement of 17 months to go play baseball.
Wow.
Where were you
I
at?
knew it was around this
Where were
time,
you
but
at?
I didn't.
Yeah, where were you at when you got the word that this was happening?
I mean,
Do you remember the day?
Little Rock Catholic High School somewhere. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I was in school because I think I remember kind of a buzz. Of course, no one had a phone where you could find that out. You just sort of had to hear about it
Watch
from
Sports Center that night. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's really, if you didn't live through that era, you don't realize how great of a player Jordan was. I mean, he literally made a franchise a world championship contender. I mean, he was one of those players. And you and I have talked about this. I'm biased toward MJ, and I think I believe you're Camp LeBron, which is fine. But
no, sir.
No?
I'm.
Oh, you're right
give
there
me
with MJ.
MJ.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little more down on LeBron than you are, though. I believe.
Oh yes, I think LeBron is worthy of being up there in the same category, but I in no way ever put anybody above him.
Okay, well, I apologize for putting you in that category. You are right there with me. But yeah, he was kind of a transcendent player, and when he left, the Bulls' success left with him. I mean, if you remember that 2-year stretch, he was gone. They were awful. It proved Scottie Pippen was not a franchise player. He was a franchise number 2 player. And he was the happiest of anyone to hear that Michael was coming back, probably along with Phil Jackson. And I don't know if you remember, there was a famous clip of, I believe, Scottie raising his shoe, which I believe was an Air Jordan, and it said "Welcome back" or something on the sole of it. He had written it, and it was kind of funny. Yeah. But of course, he comes back, and instantly the Bulls go on another championship run, which ultimately ended with, of course, if you've seen the documentary, The Last Dance, when they all broke up after that. But anyway, today was the day that Michael announced he was returning to the Bulls and bringing them another, I believe it was 3 championships before he was done after that.
It was
quite a run there in the 90s. Okay. One birthday of note today, but born on March the 18th of 1964, speed skater Bonnie Blair, who was a 5-time Olympic medalist, turned 62 today. I don't know if you remember anything about Bonnie Blair, but
I remember her.
She's fast on skates, man. Fast on skates. Okay, today's final word of the day comes from John 14:6, and it says this: Jesus said to him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Folks, when you need direction, you don't guess. You follow the right path. Jesus Christ isn't just a way. He is the way, the only way to eternal life. Amen.
Amen.
Well, he's Matt Paul, and I'm David Weaver, and this is From the Press Box on the Right Team podcast. Thank you all again for listening and supporting the show from the heart of East Texas, right here in the Piney Woods. If you like us, you can help us out by subscribing to our podcast wherever you find us and download us, as well as on our YouTube channel, the Right Team Podcast. We're just getting started with all the content that has something for everyone, hopefully, so make sure you don't miss an episode. You can do that by subscribing and getting it automatically sent to you. Once again, a big thank you to our podcast sponsors, Stiles Electric, East Texas Baptist University, and Right Team Services. Matt and I will be back tomorrow from the press box. We will actually have a special press box. Almost forgot that. How could I forget that, Matt?
That's right.
Matt's oldest son, Andrew, is going to join us on the podcast tomorrow. We're going to have an exclusive first round debate and look at the NCAA tournament. I'm excited for that. I'm excited that Andrew is going to get to join us, I hope.
I think
we're tracking in Fayetteville.
We're tracking good. He hollered at me today. I think we're tracking good for that to all work out.
Good. Well, we'll have Andrew on as a guest, of course, for tomorrow. And that's going to be a fun episode. So you don't want to miss that. We'll be back tomorrow from the press box. Until then, have a blessed Wednesday. And as always, keep writing your story.
This episode of the Right Team Podcast is also brought to you by Stiles Electric. For over 25 years, Stiles Electric has been providing reliable, professional electrical installation and repair service all throughout East Texas and beyond. We specialize in industrial and commercial projects of all sizes. We are proud to be a part of our communities and schools here in East Texas. Contact us today at 903-236-2536. That's Stiles Electric, reliable, professional, and experienced.
The college you choose plays a defining role in what you believe, how you think, and who you become. With over 45 undergraduate programs and 14 graduate programs, East Texas Baptist University offers a transformational, Christ-centered educational experience that challenges students in mind, body, and spirit. 99% of students attending ETBU receive some form of financial aid, making opportunity accessible and affordable at ETBU. Join the Tiger family. It's not too late. Apply today at etbu.edu/apply.
Did you know that someone somewhere is talking about you? Yes, your school district, your business, your church, your nonprofit group is always the subject of a conversation somewhere. Maybe it's Facebook gossip, maybe it's talk around the water cooler, maybe it's written in a newspaper or a blog somewhere. At Right Team Services, we work with you to manage that conversation more effectively, to give all of your stakeholders an opportunity to hear your message. We help you create a culture of transparency in your organization that makes your customers and stakeholders feel comfortable as part of the story, and as a result, will help your business or school district become a more effective, trusted member of your community. Contact me today at rightteamservices@gmail.com to learn more about how Right Team can help you tell your story.